So the Detroit Pistons gut out a tough win against the Toronto Raptors. Let me just be clear. The Toronto Raptors are a lot better than what their record shows. They've had a lot of injuries. Um, they haven't been able to put their best players on the court consistently, and it's reflected in their record. But as they get healthy, and Scotty Barnes is being reacclimated, RJ Barrett is being reacclimated, this team is a really, really tough out for anybody. And so the Detroit Pistons is to be able to uh, defend their home court against this team that's hungry for a win says a lot. But I want to talk about one person in particular in this video. And I think we all know who that is. It's Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey with a game-winning shot. Not just a game-winning shot, but he was the leader of this team closing out the Toronto Raptors. And I would say that he's had probably the best floor game that I have seen from him as a Detroit Piston. And I want to dive into that in this video. But before I do, this video is brought to you by Bridges and Stone's Family and Relationship Care. You know, the holidays can be tough for a lot of us, whether it's distance from family, relationship issues, social isolation, or struggling to adapt to the weather of this season. Depression and loneliness can get to us all. This season doesn't have to be something to dread. It can also be your opportunity to learn coping skills and the steps you need to move into a healthier relationships. Contact Bridges and Stones today for a free consultation with a professional coach to get the support you need. Don't struggle alone. The link is in the description box below. You know, I wanted to be very intentional when I said why I wanted to do a video about Jaden Ivey. We all know that he can score. We all know that he's a blur. We all know that he is one of the elite athletes in the NBA when it comes to the guard position. And so we all know what he can do in terms of putting the ball in the hole. But last night's game against the Toronto Raptors was by far his best floor game. And when I say floor game, I'm talking about the ability to execute, to be intentional, to manage a game for all 4 quarters, for all 48 minutes. While he was out there on the court, he was locked in. He understood the assignment. He found the balance between leading his team and getting guys involved and asserting himself, making sure that his team didn't fall too far behind, making sure that he was pushing leads forward or changing the momentum in his team's favor. He was making the big plays. He was making the right plays all the way down to the end, where he was able to execute, where he was able to hit an extremely tough contested shot against Ochai Agbaji, which, let me be clear. The trio of Davion Mitchell, a.k.a. Off Night, Jamal Sheed, and Ochai Agbaji has to be one of the best, most athletic and physical defensive backcourts and perimeter defenders in the NBA by far. This is probably like about as good, maybe even a little bit better than even Minnesota's when they have Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dante DiVincenzo, right? They have the type of backcourt defense that is going to make your day hell as a lead guard. They're going to speed you up. They're going to be physical. They're going to get up into you. They're going to come at you in waves because they're not going to get tired, because as soon as they get tired, they got another guy who's going to do the same thing to you. Davion Mitchell is subbed in for the reigning Defensive Player of the Year from the NCAA last season, Jamal Sheed. Low to the gravity, tough, physical guards. We're going to get into you. We're going to knock the ball away. We're going to grab and scratch and claw and bump, do all the little things to keep you from getting into a rhythm. And yet, Jaden Ivey walks out of this game with only 3 turnovers versus 8 assists. For Jaden Ivey to have over a 2-to-1 turnover ratio, assist to turnover ratio, is a huge, huge mark of improvement. But to do that against this team, Because even when you move on from Ochai Agbaji, who's there waiting for you? You got Scotty Barnes, somewhere between 6'8", 6'9", 7'3" wingspan, low center of gravity, loves defense. Big man who's also switching on to you, making your life hell. And yet, Jaden Ivey maintains his focus. He understands the assignment of being the lead guard. No Cade Cunningham. It's on him. It's on him to make the plays, to lead this team. And that's exactly what he did. He came into this game, and I loved it from the very beginning, how he allowed the game to come to him. He didn't press. He didn't push. He wasn't trying to overexert himself to be able to make all the plays or to lead the team in scoring. He literally played within the flow of the offense, trusting his teammates that as he gave up the ball, he was going to get it back. And sometimes that's hard to do, especially when you have younger teams, because guys are so anxious to get their shot. Guys are so anxious to be able to prove themselves, especially guys, even some of the veterans who are in contract years like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. These guys have everything to gain by getting up shots, showing that they can score at a high level. And yet, Jaden Ivey selflessly gives up the ball, passes the ball, gets them involved, gets them going early. Tim Hardaway Jr. shot 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Malik Beasley struggled a little bit, 4 of 16, but he started off hot. And I would have to actually say, side note, Malik Beasley, calm down, bro. Calm down. It isn't that we don't want you shooting threes. It's the type of threes. We all know that you're a good dead-eye catch-and-shoot guy. And even off one dribble, you can hit. But when you're taking 2, 3 dribbles and you're doing step backs and you're trying to create shots for yourself, especially beyond the arc, that's not your game. That's not. I want to see you give that ball up back to Jaden Ivey or someone else who that is their game and play off of them. All that's to say is Jaden Ivey did a masterful job all the way through this game. And I want to commend him because I have been on his top about dribbling the ball off his leg, which he only did once, right? Making errant passes where he's forcing it, which he only did once. And yet, he's somehow able to maintain his composure in this setting. The Detroit Pistons have been losing. They've been struggling. And they come home with fans who are like, is this happening again? Are we about to go on this long losing streak? Is this team falling apart? Jalen Duren had been struggling. Cade Cunningham was injured. We've still been waiting on Asar Thompson to get minutes. All right, what's going to happen? And he says, I got it. I got it. And he led this team to a victory. That has to feel great. Not just hitting a game-winning shot. I mean, that's kind of the cherry on top. He led this team to a victory. Not a lot of guards know how to do that. That means that you were locked in, you were tapped in, and your team was locked in and tapped into you as you led them. As you led them. Jaden Ivey made 10 of 13 shots, shooting 77% from the field. 2 of 4 from the three-point line. He wasn't just jacking them up. Yeah, he did miss 3 free throws, which was like, come on, man. Shot 50% from the free throw line. But keeping it down to only 3 turnovers, despite playing 36 minutes, he was a plus 25 on the court. Highest plus minus on the team by far. By far. This game has to be one of those where if I'm the coaches, I am taking this game, recording it, and I'm bottling that thing up. And I'm having Jaden Ivey watch this over and over and over and over because he needs to see himself lead his team to victories. He needs to see himself play this type of a floor game because this is the type of game that you go, oh yes, this is who you'll need to be in the playoffs. This is who we need when we start thinking about who can take us to a championship. This is the type of game that we need to see Cade Cunningham have. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't know if we've seen that game yet. We've seen Cade get off and have a really good offensive game. But I don't know if he led the team as much as he was just leading and scoring. I don't know if guys are looking to him and say, get us all involved, and we're going to ride you to a victory. And then he gets them there. And so as we move forward, I hope that this is something that him and Cade Cunningham can build off of. Because neither of them needs to be a heliocentric, lead guard where everything revolves around them. You have help in one another. In fact, with Asar Thompson's return, you have another guy who can initiate offense, who can play make, who can create for you, and you can get off the ball. So hopefully this is something that we can see the Detroit Pistons build upon. Kudos to JB Bickerstaff, having his team prepared. They continue to take strides and steps forward, trending in the right direction, which is what you want from a young team. Just continue trending in the right direction. Keep improving. Keep growing. And that's nothing short of what we've seen, especially crescendoed in this last game against the Toronto Raptors. Kudos to the Detroit Pistons. They get the win. They break the losing streak. And hopefully they can get one more in this next stretch of 4 games. But as always, I want to know what you all think. Get at me in the comment section if you agree, disagree. Hit that like button, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Definitely share the video in your group chats. And get at me in the comment section. I'm going to get at y'all there. Peace.